So I've had the Sennheiser Momentum True Wireless 4 for nearly a week now, and I'm definitely impressed. Sennheiser is not playing any games with all the tech that they packed into these earbuds, but can they stand up to the competition? In this video, I'll be giving you all of my thoughts, as well as comparing them to some of the best earbuds on the market from Sony, Bose, Technics, and Denon. As always, there will be links to all the products in this video down in the video description. So let's get started. First up, let's start with that Bluetooth connection. The Sennheiser Momentum True Wireless 4 are featuring Bluetooth 5.4 with AAC, SBC, aptX Adaptive, aptX Lossless, as well as LC3 and Auracast support. Man, that is a mouthful. Seems like Sennheiser is doing their best to future-proof these earbuds, and I'm here for all of it. While the Momentum True Wireless 4 are compatible with both iOS and Android devices, you will need an Android device that supports aptX Adaptive to get the maximum benefits of the tech included here. Now, when it comes to Bluetooth range, I was able to get about 39 feet or just under 12 meters. And I was able to put about 2 walls in between myself and the earbuds before I started hearing any clipping or cutting out. Now, these earbuds are also featured in single usage mode. That means you can use one earbud at a time while you leave the other one charging in the case, and it works perfectly. It's totally seamless, no issues whatsoever. However, the music will pause if you do have ear detection, what they call auto pause, enabled. You also maintain the ability to use both active noise cancellation and transparency mode when only one earbud is in use. Additionally, the Momentum True Wireless 4 also feature multipoint connectivity for up to 2 devices, and so far the multipoint feature has worked exceptionally well with all of my devices, including my Asus Zenfone 9, my OnePlus Open, my iPhone 15 Pro Max, and my iPad Pro. So now let's move over to watching video and mobile gaming. So the Momentum True Wireless 4 have minimal latency when watching video or when playing games thanks to its use of Bluetooth 5.4 and LE audio. Apps like YouTube, Netflix, or any of the other streaming apps work perfectly in my testing, both on Android and iOS. When it comes to mobile gaming, there is a dedicated low latency game mode for minimum latency on games like Call of Duty Mobile. It makes a noticeable difference in lag, but it won't eliminate it completely. For casual gamers like me, this is really not an issue. So now let's move over to the fitment and the comfort of the Sennheiser Momentum True Wireless 4. So these earbuds are available in 3 different colors at this time. You got them in black graphite like I've got here. They've also got black copper and white silver. Overall, the shape and size remains the same as the Momentum True Wireless 3, the previous version. For my ears, the Momentum True Wireless 4 are lightweight and comfortable. No discomfort or ear fatigue at all after hours of usage. But they are not the smallest earbuds, so people with small ears should be aware of potential comfort issues. And then a question that I get very often is, are these earbuds good for workouts or sports? How is the grip of the earbuds? Now, the Momentum True Wireless 4 use a tip and cushion design for excellent grip. So far, the grip has been very good for me, but this will depend on your ear shape and size, so mileage may vary. During my walks, I haven't experienced any slippage and I didn't need to readjust them at all. Now, Sennheiser does include 4 sizes of silicone tips in the box, as well as 3 sizes of cushions. And I strongly recommend you try all the combinations possible to make sure that you're getting the maximum grip and comfort. Now, the included tips work well enough, but I went ahead and swapped mine out for a set of the Spinfit Omni for the improved comfort and the superior seal. The soft medical grade silicone in Spinfit's ear tips don't cause my ears to get itchy during long listening sessions the way that regular cheap ear tips might. They're highly recommended. If you're interested in them, I'll leave a link to those down in the video description as well. Additionally, the Momentum True Wireless 4 also feature an IP54 dust and splash resistance rating, so no issues with sweat or having water splashed on them at all. And I've definitely put this to the test by taking them with me on multiple 2-mile walks followed by 30-minute dumbbell workouts. So I get absolutely soaked, no problems so far. Now, another question that comes up quite often is, are these earbuds going to be good for sleep? Now, this is another one where user experience may vary. For me, with my large ears, the Momentum True Wireless 4 actually works surprisingly well for sleep, including side sleep. So back and side sleepers, I think you'll be okay, but this will depend on your ear shape and size once again. Fun fact, everyone's ears are shaped differently, so keep that in mind if you want to use these as a side sleeper. So now let's talk about the controls. So the Momentum True Wireless 4 are using customizable touch controls. Once again, they are responsive and they are very easy to use, and they support a single tap, double tap, triple tap, as well as a long press. And all of the commands can be customized or shut off via the Sennheiser Smart Control app. Last but not least, you also have ear detection for auto pause, as well as auto accept calls. But both of these can be toggled on or off, completely up to you. Now, speaking of the app support, the Sennheiser Smart Control app is available on both iOS and Android devices. Now, when you open up the app, you're going to be greeted with the battery levels of the earbuds and the case. Now, below this, you're going to see connection management. That's basically your multi-point connectivity. You can decide which devices you want to connect to at that time. Now, below that, you're going to have My Sound, and that's going to give you 7 EQ presets plus 1 customizable preset using the 5-band equalizer. You're also going to find toggles for a bass boost and for the podcast EQ. Now, next to that, you can have sound personalization. Now, this creates a custom EQ based on tests and adjustments you make within the app. Surprisingly easy to do and truly improve the sound quality and volume of these earbuds in my testing. Now, I strongly recommend taking the 3 to 5 minutes to set this up. Now, sadly, you will have to create an account with Sennheiser to unlock this feature. A little bit more on that later on in this video. Now, below this, you do have the adaptive ANC controls for off, anti-wind, and on. Then you have the transparency controls with a slider to fine-tune how much sound you want to allow in, and a toggle for auto pause when transparency mode is active. Below that, you have your touch controls, and this is where you can toggle to enable or fully disable the touch controls. Really handy for sleep, or if you want to wear a hoodie or a beanie that triggers the touch commands. Comes in very handy. And you can also go in here and customize all of the different control options. Now, below that, you get the ear fitment test and sound zones. Now, moving over to the actual settings, you hit the little gear icon, you go in here, you'll have options for firmware, you have options for audio resolution, so you could be standard, which is SBC or AAC. There's a low latency gaming mode, there's a high res mode, which is 2496, and lossless mode, which is 1644. Also shows you which codec is in use at that time, and then you have a battery eco mode that disables aptX to save battery. There's also a toggle for smart pause, a toggle for the auto accept calls, a toggle for auto power off, the tone and voice prompts if you want to change languages or do any of that sort of stuff. You have product info, factory reset. Then you also have the battery protection mode, which prolongs battery life by charging slower and preventing charging up to 100%. And then below this, you have tiles, and this basically you can select which tiles you want to show on the main app screen. So this app is pretty thorough in all of the different options and different things that you can play with. So this is something you definitely want to try out if you buy these earbuds. But to be clear, you don't have to download the Smart Control app to use these earbuds right out of the box. The app simply allows you to take full control over all of the different features built into the Sennheiser Momentum True Wireless 4. So now let's move over to the performance of the Momentum True Wireless 4, and let's start with that battery life. So Sennheiser was claiming up to 7.5 hours on a single charge and up to 30 hours combined with the charging case. These are usually best case scenarios, so I went ahead and tested these claims for myself. Now, with active noise cancellation turned on, I managed to get 6 hours and 7 minutes using the aptX adaptive codec. And then with ANC turned off, I managed to get 7 hours and 26 minutes also with the aptX adaptive coding. And all of this testing was done at 75% volume using mixed media. Overall, this is excellent battery life in my personal opinion. Now, there's also a fast charging option, so if you're fully drained these earbuds, you can drop them in their case for 8 minutes and it will give you an additional hour worth of playback time. As far as charging the charging case, you can charge it via USB-C or wireless charging. You got both options with these earbuds. So now let's move over to the active noise cancellation. So the Momentum True Wireless 4 feature hybrid adaptive ANC. And when I say adaptive, this usually means that the active noise cancellation strength automatically adjusts itself based on environmental noise levels. Now, Sennheiser didn't post any specs in regards to the actual active noise cancellation strength, but I did read some rumors of it being somewhere in the -40 to -50 dB range. Now, in my testing, they performed exceptionally well. I used both 75 decibels of crowd noise and 85 decibels worth of airliner cabin noise, and the Momentum True Wireless 4 did very well against both types of noise in my testing. At maximum power, the ANC here can compete with Sony's level, but it's not quite enough to topple Bose. Now, the other ANC option here is the anti-wind mode, which works surprisingly well at, quieting the buffeting wind if you're walking outside, but I just wish this mode was available as a setting for transparency mode as opposed to being a setting in active noise cancellation mode. Lastly, I didn't experience much noticeable EQ shift while switching from active noise cancellation on and off, so that is another plus. Overall, the active noise cancellation performance of these earbuds is truly impressive. So now let's move over to the transparency mode, and this is where you can activate the mic so you can hear what's going on around you. So with the Momentum True Wireless 4, they've definitely improved it. Now it's got very low noise, it sounds much more natural, and it's fully adjustable via the slider. Now, the only drawback with transparency mode here is how easily it's affected by wind noise. Now, you can reduce this effect by lowering the transparency strength, but it'd be cool if you didn't actually have to do that. Or you can switch to anti-wind mode, but then that defeats the point of trying to use transparency mode when you're walking outdoors. So as I mentioned before, I would love to see an anti-wind option added to the transparency mode. This would be a welcome addition for joggers, cyclists, or people who just go for walks outdoors like myself. So now let's move over to the sound, but first let's start with the volume. So the Sennheiser Momentum True Wireless 4 come in at 118.4 decibels of peak volume, and that qualifies them as dummy loud. So basically anything above 100 decibels is already loud as is. So for me, comfortable listening to these comes in anywhere from like 50% to about 65%, unless I have some really quiet audio, then I'll turn it up more, but that's usually where I'm listening to my music. It's gonna be more than loud enough for 95% of you out there. If these aren't loud enough for you, then I really don't know what to tell you, to be completely honest, but overall, quite loud. Now, if you're getting any value from this video, be sure to hit that subscribe button for me. It's free for you and it helps my channel greatly. So let's get into the sound quality. Now, Sennheiser is already known worldwide for their exceptional sound quality, both in consumer and professional audio. The Momentum True Wireless 4 are no exception. They are using Sennheiser's 7mm True Response dynamic driver. Combine that with aptX lossless and good source music, and you have a powerful combination that can support up to 2496 resolution, according to Sennheiser. To take it a step further, they teamed up with Germany's Fraunhofer IDMT to develop their own sound personalization system, and this lets you create a sound profile that's uniquely yours. It analyzes how you react to different sounds and then uses advanced audio processing algorithms to adjust your music to highlight the parts that you love the most. In my testing, it worked surprisingly well and truly opened up the sound far better than anything I could do with their 5-band EQ, not to mention allowing me to add some killer bass impact in the process. So I really, truly, strongly recommend that you give this a try. But there is a caveat here. There's a major asterisk. You will have to create an account with Sennheiser to have access to this feature, and I'm really not happy about that. So this bit of feedback or constructive criticism is for my friends at Sennheiser, and I hope they can hear me out on this. I really don't like the fact that this feature requires an account to be used. Customers will already be paying top dollar for these earbuds as is. Please let us make an account if we wish, but don't make it a requirement to get the most out of this product. Please and thank you. Now, back to the EQ options, because I digress there. You also get that 5-band equalizer, as I mentioned before, as well as 7 presets to try out, all of which can be customized to your own personal taste. But let's go ahead and break down the sound. So let's start with that bass. So we've got deep, punchy bass impact here, solid sub-bass extension and rumble. On certain songs, I swear I felt the rumble in my chest and back. So whether you're listening to hip hop, EDM, or rock, the bass here is outstanding. All that to say, these will satisfy any and all bass heads. One of my many test tracks that I use for testing bass response was Forever by Young Dolph featuring T.I. And this track truly showcases the strength and cleanliness of the bass here. If you're part of my bass head crew, you need to add this song to your playlist as soon as possible. Now let's move over to the mid-range. The Momentum True Wireless 4 have a smooth mid-range that tends to stay close to Sennheiser's signature sound. With my EQ applied, the upper mids get a nice lift and the vocals get moved front and center in the mix, which is my personal preference. Overall, it's a rich sound that lends itself nicely to vocals as well as live instruments from rock bands or orchestras. One of the test tracks that highlights the strengths of the mid-range is Brown Sugar by D'Angelo. The live drums, the organ, the guitars, along with D'Angelo's vocals and the backup singers are a powerful combo that you have to enjoy for yourself. If you can find a live version of that performance, even better. Now let's move over to the treble. So out of the box, the treble is laid back and doesn't overpower the mid-range. Not quite my taste. With my personalized EQ, the treble got lifted and has a clear open sound with no sibilance or any harshness. You can easily boost the treble with the 5-band EQ if you want to do it that way as well. You also get excellent stereo separation and good soundstage as well, especially with live recordings. There is space and width in the sound, but vocals still sound warm and intimate. Now, one of the test tracks that I used was the cover of No Doubt's Don't Speak that was done by Postmodern Jukebox featuring Haley Reinhart. And this track truly showcases how well the treble tuning can shine here. You get violins, you get piano, you get harp, you get Haley's sultry voice. The video itself on YouTube is a feast for the eyes and the ears. And I'll be leaving links to all of these songs, or if they're actual music videos for these, I'll drop them in the video description as well, so you can check them out for yourself. So now let's talk a little bit of constructive criticism just to kind of recap what I had mentioned before. The wind noise in transparency mode. Hopefully we can get some sort of an anti-wind noise for transparency. That would be kind of cool to see. And then secondly, requiring a Sennheiser account to have access to sound personalization. As I mentioned before, I really don't like that. So those are my 2 bits of constructive criticism for Sennheiser at this time. Now, I know one of the most important questions that people are going to ask me, are the Momentum True Wireless 4 better than the Momentum True Wireless 3? Yes, with an asterisk. So let me explain. Sound quality is noticeably improved with the combination of aptX lossless and EQ sound personalization, in my humble opinion. But sadly, I can't answer if the battery problems have been resolved, since I haven't had these long enough for long-term battery testing. I will have to drop a follow-up video after 6 months if all is going well. If the follow-up comes out sooner, then something probably went wrong. So now let's get into a quick ranking between the Momentum True Wireless 4, the Sony WF-1000XM5, the Bose QC Ultra, the Technics AZ80, and the Denon Perl Pro. I went ahead and updated all of them to their latest firmware versions to ensure peak performance for this comparison. So first, let's start with the active noise cancellation. In first place, we've got Bose. For second place, we've actually got a tie between Sennheiser and Sony. In third place, or I guess fourth place, we've got Technics, and in fifth place, we've got Denon. While all 5 of these offer strong active noise cancellation performance, the Bose QC Ultra still did the best job against both airline cabin noise and crowd noise. The Momentum True Wireless 4 tied for second place with the Sony XM5 in my testing, and that was a true surprise for me, and both of them are right behind Bose for ANC strength. I went back and forth testing them, and I simply couldn't choose a winner, so I ended up having to call it a tie. So major kudos goes to Sennheiser for truly stepping up here. Now let's move over to transparency mode. First place, we've got Sony. Second place, we've got Sennheiser. Third place, we've got Technics. Fourth place, we've got Bose. And fifth place, we've got Denon. Now, Sony and Sennheiser had the cleanest transparency modes out of all 5 here. Sony edged out Sennheiser by offering less wind noise while walking outdoors. All 5 still do a very good job, but Sony takes the win here. So now let's move over to the volume. So in first place, we've got Denon at 123 decibels. In second place, we've got Sennheiser at 118.4 decibels. In third place, we've got Bose at 117.8 decibels. In fourth place, we've got Technics at 115.9 decibels. And in fifth place, we've got Sony at 114.4 decibels. Now, these numbers here speak for themselves. Denon has never been weak on volume, especially with their high gain mode option, so it comes as no surprise that they would easily win here. But even if we disable the high gain mode, Denon still comes in at a respectable 115.2 decibels. So either way, all of these earbuds get more than loud enough for most users. So now let's move over to the sound quality ranking. In first place, we've got Sennheiser. Second place, we've got Denon. Third place, we've got Technics. Fourth place, we've got Sony, and fifth place, we've got Bose. Now, this is the biggest upset for me personally. The Denon Perl Pro have been my #1 earbuds for well over a year now, but they have been dethroned, in my opinion. The sound quality and personal tuning of the Momentum True Wireless 4 truly caught me by surprise. Combine that with my locally stored 2448 FLAC files, and the difference between Sennheiser and the others becomes apparent. To be clear, the battle for sound was very close between Denon and Sennheiser and Technics, but out of the 3, I have to choose the Momentum True Wireless 4 to come out on top. So, needless to say, we have a new sound quality king in the house. Before Denon and Technics owners grab their pitchforks and light their torches in the chat, I want to make things more clear. When I say that Sennheiser is my new number one, this doesn't mean that Denon and Technics are suddenly bad earbuds. In fact, they're still spectacular earbuds, but my rankings change from time to time as new products hit the market. This is the nature of ever-improving technology. I hope this helps clarify things for you. So now let's get into some mic quality samples for those who like to take phone calls with their earbuds. I'll be doing both quiet and crowd noise tests on all 5 of these earbuds so you can hear how they perform under different conditions.
All right, so here we have the microphone quality test for the Sennheiser Momentum True Wireless 4. So, testing, 1, 2, 3. As you can see, I am indoors in a semi-quiet room. So, testing, 1, 2, 3. All right, so here we have the microphone test for the Sony WF-1000XM5. So, testing, 1, 2, 3. As you can see, once again, I'm indoors in a semi-quiet room. So, testing, 1, 2, 3. All right, so here we have the microphone test for the Bose QuietComfort Ultra earbuds. So, testing, 1, 2, 3. As you can see, once again, I'm indoors in a semi-quiet room. So, testing, 1, 2, 3. All right, so here we have the microphone test for the Technics AZ80. So, testing, 1, 2, 3. As you can see, once again, I'm indoors in a semi-quiet room. So, testing, 1, 2, 3. All right, so here we have the microphone test for the Denon Perl Pro. So, testing, 1, 2, 3. As you can see, once again, I'm indoors in a semi-quiet room. So, testing, 1, 2, 3. And here we have the Momentum True Wireless 4 in a simulated crowd noise environment. So something like a busy bar, a crowded restaurant, or something along those lines. So, testing, 1, 2, 3. And here we have the Sony WF-1000XM5 in a simulated crowd noise environment. So something like a busy bar, a crowded restaurant, or something along those lines. So, testing, 1, 2, 3. And here we have the Bose QuietComfort Ultra earbuds in a simulated crowd noise environment. So something like a busy bar, a crowded restaurant, or something along those lines. So, testing, 1, 2, 3. And here we have the Technics AZ80 in a simulated crowd noise environment. So something like a busy bar, a crowded restaurant, or something along those lines. So, testing, 1, 2, 3. And here we have the Denon Perl Pro in a simulated crowd noise environment. So something like a busy bar, a crowded restaurant, or something along those lines. So, testing, 1, 2, 3.
So with all of that out of the way, and for full disclosure, Sennheiser was kind enough to send these earbuds over for this review. Now, there was no monetary compensation involved, and Sennheiser was not afforded any copy approval or early access to this video prior to it being published. Now, I'm telling you this because I believe in transparency with you as the viewer. As always, please be sure to watch multiple reviews before making your final purchase decision. If you're interested in seeing my other top picks for earbuds in multiple categories like sleep, workouts, sound quality, then be sure to check out the video that I'll leave for you right up here on the screen. With that said, my name is JEFE, and I'm out.